I'm a full-time content creator specializing in dining out and showcasing restaurants on my channels. I cover all major platforms, which is crucial for a content creator's livelihood. I cover the majority of them here, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all the rest of them. I basically get paid to eat. I successfully turned my hobby into my job, and I have a combined audience over 1 million people who check out my pages to see what I've been up to, where I've been eating, and lots of people DM me when planning their Vegas vacation. Is that me? Okay. I shoot and edit everything on my phone, including the voiceovers, making it the best on-the-go type of gig. While I generally dislike both the words foodie and influencer, these are two words that everybody knows in 2025, so I feel obligated to use them and use them often. Anyone can be a foodie. If you love food and look forward to a delicious dinner after a long day like this, you are a foodie. An influencer, on the other hand, is someone who can sway someone's opinion and sway someone's decision to do something, whether it's to check out a new restaurant, go to stay at a certain hotel, or buy an item on TikTok shop. No 2 days are ever the same for me. One day I'm filming with the likes of Martha Stewart and POV Husband, and other days I'm helping my wife create cooking content at home for the accounts that she runs. But most days I'm out and about in Sin City, checking out all the amazing restaurants and the excellent dishes that they make. I love living in Las Vegas. There's no other city like this in the US where you'd run into such a vast and diverse range of content creators than here. Along with that, I run a podcast conveniently called the Las Vegasville Podcast, which focuses on food and social media. And I'm also a successful social media manager where my wife and I manage Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube pages for some of the most popular restaurants in the city. I also still write online publications for online publications from time to time. So how did I end up making crazy food videos for a living? How did I get so lucky to escape the 9-to-5 grind and do this full time? The version of myself 10 years ago would be super jealous of who I am now. And it was never one post or one interaction that changed my life. It's been the consistency of hammering away with post after post, story after story, and bearing down to create videos when the average person would have stopped a long time before then. It's that innate and unreasonable will and want that led me to talking to you all here. And that's kind of like the similar character trait with most content creators. A little backstory, I grew up in Boston. My parents are Taiwanese. That's where my love of food started. My mom is an amazing cook. And so I grew up with all that. I had a lot of Irish and Italian friends. So on the weekends, I would do fast food and Italian food. And that's kind of where my palate kind of broadened initially. I went to NYU for school. I actually studied music business of all things. And that's where my love of food and palate evolved even more. Sales and marketing turned out to be my forte in the professional setting. I had a lot of great Is that me? I don't know, it's something else? Okay. Sales and marketing turned out to be my forte. Turning nothing into something was somehow I had a knack for that. And so a lot of my life in New York was just kind of doing marketing, doing promotions, a lot of pitches here and there. And this is back when MTV still played videos, radio still mattered, and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually I got sick of living in New York. I was sick of winter. I was sick of just the city grind in general. So I sold all my things. I moved to Japan, of all things, and taught English for 2 years. And that's when I realized I was actually really into food, not only because the food in Japan was incredible, but I thought about all the foods that I took for granted in New York that I totally missed. I woke up screaming, dreaming about burritos constantly, Middle Eastern food constantly, other things that I could not get in Japan. And so when I left Japan to move to Las Vegas, I made a conscious decision that food would be more a part of my life than ever before. I actually moved to Las Vegas to become a professional poker player, of all things. I was crushing it online. I was making more money doing that than teaching English. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So I ended up with a swing shift job, of all things, in Vegas, pitching timeshare for Marriott. And it wasn't until I discovered Yelp back in 2007, 2008, where my intro into food social media really started. My wife and I only had one car at the time, so she would pick me up at 11 p.m. and we would always be looking for the latest late night dinner spots. So after reading a bunch of reviews, I caught the writing bug myself, and it wasn't until maybe like 2009, 2010 where, it sounds cocky, but I was a little Yelp famous, and where I was getting recognized for my reviews on Yelp, which was a total and crazy trip unto itself. So, all of the reviews were all about the love of food, the love of going out, the love of Las Vegas, which still resonates now. And it wasn't until 2016 that I saw a new way to present food and the dining experience with Instagram. A lot of my reviews were all about the ambiance and the service and everything from beginning to end. But the initial guys that started food Instagram in Vegas, like Unlocked, Ryu Sauce, Eat Me Las Vegas, Happy 7702, I mean, those guys were able to focus on just one dish or a couple dishes, and they would overnight have, like these restaurants would have crowds of people, new customers, because they blew it up just on posting photos and their captions. So that really piqued my interest in going into that direction. And so, the only way I was able to hang out with these guys was because of my old restaurant connections through Yelp. I was able to host fine dining, higher end foodie experiences for them to shoot than they were normally used to. So they were forced to hang out with me, and that's how I became friends with all of them. 3 years later, I was earning more from social media management and posts from my own account than my job. So I left my 10-year position at a prominent timeshare marketing company, and COVID was a pivotal time for me as well. Everyone was glued to their phones, watching videos, and it was during this period that I was able to improve my video making skills. And this was also when TikTok took off and became the cultural phenomenon that it is today. Vegas has been a fantastic place for content creation and networking, especially when compared to other major cities. I mean, just in the foodie market in Vegas alone, I would say there's at least 20, maybe 30 key influencers that can bring in business to a restaurant literally the next day after they post. You look at major cities like San Francisco, Boston, Miami, and there are maybe 10 accounts maximum and usually less. As far as for paid collaborations, some months are great, some aren't, and relying on companies to reach out consistently is not realistic at all, especially with so many creators in Las Vegas. Brands could efficiently work down the list until they find a suitable price point and creator. And case in point, my slowest 30 days in 2025 was in July, but the last 30 days were the most I've ever made in a single month with sponsorships and brand deals on the Las Vegas Phil account. Social media management has been a huge thing for me as a marketer. Even with all the brand collabs and paid gigs and all that, social media management remains the most consistent way for an account of my size to earn money as a content creator in the restaurant marketing space. Thanks to my profile and the reach of many of my posts, I don't need to pitch or do outreach, thank God, as 100% of my business is incoming and has been for the last 5 years. Let me give you an example of some of my clients. Amano Las Vegas, my first client ever. Sorry, this is such a weird dimension here. Okay, Amano was my first client ever back in 2018 and still my client over 7 years later. This is a mom and pop shop in Northwest Las Vegas that couldn't sell alcohol because they had a church as a neighbor. But the goal was always to get more attention and stand out in some way from the traditional Italian food. And we did it in a big way. They're most famous for what's called the Fat Baby. It's a gigantic hoagie with pasta stuffed into it, and they pour crazy cheese sauce and all that all over it. It's gone viral thousands of times over now since then. Tourists routinely take an Uber. It's a $100 round trip ride, and it's just blown up to no end. I'm so proud of this one because it's just way out there on Anna 95, and it's become a global sensation. I've seen Japanese news report about it. Russian news report about it. Recently, Jordan the Stallion, who's one of the biggest influencers in the game, flew to Vegas exclusively just to go to Amano and make a video, and they're currently riding the viral wave of that video. Golden Steer is another one. It is the oldest steakhouse in Las Vegas, rich with history and great food. They needed to boost their social media presence significantly back in 2020, and through the lens of food porn, along with touting legends that dined there like Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley, it is now one of the busiest restaurants in the city, boasting being booked out at least 6 months in advance with lines out the door daily, 30 minutes before they open, just for a chance to walk in and have dinner at 4:30 p.m. Business has been so good that they're actually opening up a new location in New York City at the end of the year on 1 Fifth Avenue, and I'm super excited about that. There was a time when fine dining and steakhouses shunned making and posting videos from phones. A lot of brands are still like that now. But fortunately for me, Golden Steer was able to give me the opportunity to kind of flex and show what I could do. They started back in 2020, we had 3,000 followers, and I think they're at 565K now, just on IG, but TikTok and YouTube have done really well as well. Bulldoggies, another one. They started as the most popular hot dogs in Las Vegas, offering a unique Korean fusion twist. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that they started wanting to serve breakfast, where I suggested to them that they should sell Korean egg drop breakfast sandwiches in a way that only Bulldoggies could. These went mega viral as soon as they came out, with the likes of Unlocked, and then Keith Lee posting, which took their business to a completely other stratosphere. Bulldoggies is actually the only restaurant in Vegas that Keith Lee helped blow up, that was able to successfully leverage their media attention to achieve long-term success. This is because we had a social media plan in place where virtually every other restaurant who Keith Lee blew up had nothing. They just thought they could ride the wave forever. And then when that stopped, like all posts do, their business stopped too. The egg drop breakfast sandwiches, which have now outsold hot dogs, are their best-selling item. And they've recently opened a second location in Henderson. And last but not least, Shang Artisan Noodle, a very popular Chinese noodle restaurant in Las Vegas. They focus on hand-pulled and knife-shaped noodles. I started with them back in 2018 when they were a small restaurant located on West Flamingo that fit 30 people maximum. And they're about to open their 4th and 5th locations in Las Vegas in the spring of 2026. I know it sounds like I'm bragging. I feel just like a proud parent instead. But it's one thing to blow up the place and get all the people to come in, but the restaurant has to be prepared for the onslaught of new customers, which happens overnight. These restaurants and their tirelessly working staff were able to answer the bell time after time through the massive crush of people, the lines out the door, and still put out a consistently delicious product that ensured that the first-time visitors were not a one and done, which is the case, unfortunately, with most viral restaurants. The customers have repeatedly come back because the food backed up the hype. So what makes a post go off on? There's no correct answer. It's a combination of the things, and there are various paths to achieving the ultimate goal of virality. These days, it's the eye-catching intro, the text up front. The younger audience wants an insider look into things, more of a TV show host kind of video, which is very popular on YouTube now. Everyone seems to be like they're shooting their own TV show on YouTube, but people love it. People watch it all the time. But ideally, and not just for food, it has to be kind of great and bad at the same time. More like polarizing, in fact, and something that raises questions and drives people to comment on the post, good or bad. There are countless ways to reach the finish line. You can be universally loved, you can be universally hated, and that achieves the same effect, to be honest, with more chatter, indeed, for the hate, but there's a silent majority that loves it and really says nothing. Often the worst thing that you can do is lay out all the information and details only to find out there's nothing to talk about because you gave them everything. So raising questions and curiosity is huge. Okay, all right. Marketing budgets geared towards social media have increased significantly year after year, and the trend is only going to continue. Information, education, news. People are getting all this from YouTube, IG, and TikTok now. I mean, when was the last time someone under 30 years old even sat to watch the TV news or a newspaper? They want short, digestible clips. Hardly anyone can sit through a whole movie, even in a theater, without checking their phone. I see a couple of you guys checking their phones throughout this. I'm not offended, it's just how it is. That's life, right? This may be shocking, but according to a survey by Eater and Vox Media, Gen Z consumers are changing the way Americans dine out. They share entrees, order appetizers, and even offer kids meals to cut down on costs. The younger generation is also particular when it comes to things like going out to eat and offer places that they've seen on social media. More than 70% of Gen Zers find restaurants through social media, and 72% trust the reviews on those platforms. And it's not just restaurants, though. It's literally everything from politics to fashion and so much more. When The Observer reached out to me in 2023 to comment on how the economic downturn had impacted creators financially, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Influencers across the board were making more money than ever, and my answers transformed this into a feature, changing the writer's entire perspective and the article itself. As far as the influencer economy goes, in 2023, which people had considered an economic downturn, which is crazy compared to now, brands are spending billions on social media, and the results speak for themselves. But ultimately, you, me, everyone in here is on their own personal journey through life. You need to enjoy the ride. I certainly do. I didn't become an influencer until I was past 40 years old. So that says a lot for what anyone could do at any time. Social media should be fun. Being a content creator should be enjoyable. And if you look at it from a purely for-profit standpoint, things like you have to do instead of want to do, you're more than likely to burn out than take it to another level. While my story originates from food, the main topic is interchangeable. This is about taking your passion and broadcasting it to a broad audience and making it resonate. I'm not going to be on my deathbed thinking about all the million-plus view posts I've had, but ultimately, my success in having opportunities like this are simply just a byproduct of well-thought-out posts and hard work. But that about wraps it up. Thank you for listening. If any of you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer one-on-one, or if you just want to scream to me, I'd be happy to answer them as well. But thank you. Okay.
I have two questions.
Sure.
What happens if you don't like a place? Do you post negative reviews? And can you talk a bit about the differences between each platform? Do you tailor the content differently and the audience as it relates to food?
Absolutely. So the first question was, what happens when I don't like the place? I usually just tell them personally why I'm not posting and what went wrong. And unfortunately, that happens way more often than I would like, because I spend the hours shooting all the food, and then I finally sit down and eat it, and it sucks. And it's just an unfortunate thing for all parties involved. But normally, I prefer not to trash places, although everyone loves a good negative review. It's just not my thing. And then his second question was about different platforms and how to tailor different things. I personally don't have enough time to change up my posts for different platforms, but if I did, I would focus, of course, long format on YouTube, and then a lot of stuff for YouTube Shorts, normally, and Facebook particularly. If their stories were a video instead of like a post, I would just throw them up on there and use it more as like a volume play to see what sticks to the wall, versus Instagram and TikTok, where it feels a little more tailored and more personal to me. It hurts more when the post doesn't perform as well. Yeah, but good question. Yep. All right.
Now that you have a successful company, are you still a Yelp elite?
I am not a Yelp elite. Good question. So by 2018, 2019, Yelp was kind of had like old school NCAA rules where you couldn't review a place if it was a comped experience or like a free experience. And at that point, I mean, I wasn't paying for any dinners at that point. So it felt like I needed to step away personally and not do Yelp anymore. But Yelp is a huge reason why I'm here. I wouldn't be here without it, without all that whole community and how it fostered just the love for Vegas and the love for food. You know? Yep.
Higher, do you have certain metrics you have to meet? Or certain impressions, metrics, measure success?
I don't use any specific program. I don't know, it's weird for me. Like I sit at home, I see the numbers, but they don't feel real because I'm just at home, and it's only when I'm like out and like people want to say hi or take a selfie. So it's kind of, I don't know what the metrics are. Like so the restaurant will text me, say a bunch of people came in, but really I think bottom line is I have to be satisfied with the posts I put out. And I think that's the most important metric personally for me. Whether it performs well or not, I have to be happy with it. Yeah. Yep. Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you. If I were to start from zero, so if I was starting from zero right now, I would do TikTok and YouTube, one or the other or both. I think those would be the most important ones. I mean, YouTube itself, I mean, these are evergreen posts that really never die. I mean, I've seen posts that I posted 2 years ago all of a sudden go off where that would never happen on Instagram and TikTok. And I think as YouTube integrates itself more with network shows and the NFL and all that kind of stuff, it's just going to be more important than ever to be on YouTube than any other platform, I think, for me. Yep.
How much content do you guys recommend to post per day?
So in the beginning, I would say as much as possible. You want to throw things up against the wall and see what sticks. I have friends that are doing like 40, 50 posts a day, 40 or 50 posts a week on TikTok, where maybe only a third of them go off, but that's the most important thing. Like who cares if a couple of them only have 500 views or 1,000 views? But these days for me, because of my schedule, I'm probably only posting maybe 5 times a week personally on my channel, where my other clients, these days I'm probably doing 4 times a week on all those, and that includes all the platforms to do that. But I think at the very minimum for business, 3 times a week, but that's the bare minimum. And they should be videos instead of photos.
Okay, so a lot of us are from out of town, and we know where to go tonight. What's on the script that's a walking distance? It's fun, social, small bites, and the drinks.
Okay, well, Fountain Blue's right next door. They're gonna love that I plug them. But I think they have an amazing roster of restaurants. A couple of them would be like Q, Mother Wolf is super popular. And then Komodo, which does like sushi and a lot of small bites in a more of a party atmosphere. I think just in general, Fountain Blue is just an awesome place to go to eat and have drinks right after this, for sure. Yeah. So mainly it's all incoming. So restaurants hit me up and I basically just choose which ones I want to go to or which ones I'm interested in. That's usually set up in advance, like at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance. So they know I'm coming in. Sometimes it happens on the fly, like all of a sudden all these free dishes start showing up and, oh, what happened? But yeah, but normally it's all pre-planned. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you have any other questions, we can talk to me one-on-one. I'm gonna stick around for a bit. Thank you.